Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something real straight from the heart. Sometimes in life, you get left behind, ghosted, betrayed, or overlooked. You sit there wondering, what did I do wrong? You replay the conversations, the memories, the late night talks, the promises that turned out to be lies. But let me remind you of something powerful today. There are moments in life when someone walks away from you and it feels like they've taken a piece of you with them. That kind of heartbreak doesn't just hurt. It confuses you. It shakes your confidence, disturbs your peace, and makes you question your worth. You sit alone, staring at your phone, waiting for a message that doesn't come. You replay conversations in your head, searching for what you did wrong, where you could have changed, how you could have loved better. But I want you to stop right there and breathe. Because your value, your beauty, your power, none of it is defined by someone who left. That person didn't leave because you weren't enough. That person left because they couldn't see, appreciate, or handle the powerful soul you are. You weren't too much. You were just too much for them. And that's not a flaw. That's not something to fix. That's not a reason to shrink. That's your strength. That's your gift. The problem is when we love someone deeply, we tend to let their opinion shape the way we see ourselves. If they ignore us, we feel invisible. If they lie to us, we feel foolish. If they leave, we feel unworthy. But that's a dangerous illusion. Let me tell you this. People walk out not because of who you are, but because of where they are in their own journey. They may be emotionally unavailable, spiritually immature, or simply afraid of the depth of love you offer. That's not your burden to carry. You don't have to prove your worth to someone who didn't recognize it to begin with. You don't have to chase love that runs. The kind of love that sees you, values you, and respects you. That love doesn't leave when things get hard. It stays, it grows, it builds. But when someone walks out, it creates a gap, a silence. And in that silence, it's easy for self-doubt to creep in. You start thinking maybe you were too emotional, too clingy, too demanding. Maybe if you smiled more. Maybe if you didn't express your needs. Maybe if you were less intense, less loving, less you. But you weren't too much. You were simply with someone who didn't know how to hold what you had to offer. That's not a reflection of your lack. It's a reflection of their limits. You see, love isn't about begging someone to stay. Love isn't about convincing someone of your worth. Love is not a performance. And if you have to shrink yourself, silence your voice, or numb your heart just to keep someone, then that's not love. That's survival. And you weren't born to survive love. You were born to thrive in it. You deserve the kind of love that recognizes you from the start. The kind that feels like home, not like a battle. You deserve consistency, honesty, passion, and peace, not chaos and confusion. But healing from someone who left is hard. It takes time. It takes strength. It takes waking up every day and choosing yourself all over again. There will be mornings when the pain comes back like a wave, when memories try to haunt you, when loneliness feels unbearable. But you keep going. Because every time you choose to love yourself instead of waiting for someone else to do it, you rebuild the parts they tried to break. Every time you look in the mirror and speak life into yourself, you take back your power. Every time you wipe your tears and get back up, you show the world and yourself that your spirit is unshakable. There is nothing more powerful than a woman who remembers who she is after someone tried to make her forget. You are not your heartbreak. You are not your abandonment. You are not the words they didn't say or the apologies you never got. You are the strength it took to survive. You are the light that didn't go out even when you were surrounded by darkness. You are the fire that kept burning even when no one else saw the flame. That's who you are. And no person, no ex, no breakup, no rejection can take that away. There's freedom in realizing that your value isn't tied to another human being. It's not wrapped up in their texts, their calls, their attention, their validation. Your worth is built into you. You were born valuable, born enough, born worthy of love that is deep, real, and lasting. And you don't have to earn that by being more or doing more. You are already enough as you are. In your rawness, in your truth, in your power. Let them go. Let them forget you if they want. Let them replace you if they can. That's not your concern. Because your mission isn't to make someone regret leaving. It's to heal so fully, so deeply, that you no longer need them to. Your glow will speak for itself. Your joy will be your revenge. Your peace will be your victory. And one day, while they're scrolling through your photos, wondering how you moved on, wondering why they ever left, wondering why you never chased, they'll realize that they didn't leave you, they lost you. But by then, you won't need their regret. You won't be hoping they come back. You'll be too far gone, too evolved, too happy, too healed, because you stop tying your worth to their presence, because you stop letting their choices define your identity, because you finally understood that your value is fixed, permanent, unshakable. And when you reach that level of peace, that deep inner knowing that you are whole with or without them, that's when you win. Would you like me to continue with another keynote in the same style? There's a moment after heartbreak where every part of you wants to scream. You want to tell your side. You want to expose the lies, confront the betrayal, prove how wrong they were to ever hurt you. You want to make them feel the weight of what they did, that anger, that ache, that deep sense of injustice. It rises in your chest like fire. But there's a greater power than revenge. There's a louder voice than shouting back. It's silence. And when used wisely, silence is unstoppable. Silence is not weakness. It's not surrender. It's strength under control. When you choose not to react, when you choose to protect your peace instead of feeding chaos, you rise above the noise. Because silence doesn't mean you don't feel. It means you refuse to waste your energy on people who never deserve access to your heart in the first place. It means you've learned that your emotions are valuable and not everyone earns the right to witness them. Let them wonder, let them sit in confusion, let them try to figure out why you're no longer chasing, crying, calling, explaining. That silence becomes the most powerful message you could ever send. It says, I've moved on. It says, I know my worth now. It says, I'm healing on my own terms. And the truth is, silence hits harder than words ever could. Because when someone expects drama and they get nothing, that's when reality sets in. That's when regret starts creeping in. That's when they realize you were serious about your peace. It takes maturity to stay silent. It takes growth to walk away without slamming the door. It takes self-love to not defend yourself when you're being misunderstood. But you learn with time that silence protects you from unnecessary battles. Not everything deserves a reaction. Not everyone deserves your energy. There's a certain dignity in keeping your head high and your mouth closed, especially when everything inside you is begging to prove a point. You don't need to show up to every argument you're invited to. You don't need to correct every lie they tell. People will believe what they want. But silence gives you the space to heal. It gives you the freedom to focus on yourself, not them. When you stop talking about them, thinking about them, reacting to them, you take back your power. That's when you start living again. That's when your peace becomes louder than any drama they try to drag you into. The truth is, people know what they did. They know when they've hurt someone who was real. They know when they lost someone loyal. And your silence will remind them of that every single day. You don't have to lift a finger. You don't have to send a single word. Just live, just grow, just smile again, just glow again. That's how you win. That's how you heal. And one day they'll scroll through your life and realize what they walked away from. But by then, your silence will have already answered every question they could ever ask. Let them sit in the silence they created. Let them feel the absence of your voice, your laughter, your love. Because when you stop explaining, stop reacting, stop reaching, you create a space where your peace becomes louder than any revenge you could have planned. And that's the most powerful move you'll ever make. There comes a time when words just aren't enough, when no apology can undo the pain, when no explanation can justify the betrayal. You sit with all of that hurt, all of that disappointment, and you realize something important. It's not your job to make them see what they lost. It's not your role to chase validation from someone who couldn't appreciate your presence. The only response that truly matters is how you rise after it all. And that's what your glow up is all about. Your glow up isn't just about how you look. It's not just new clothes, a better hairstyle, or a post on social media that says, I'm fine even when you're not. Your glow up is about who you become after being broken. It's about the power you find when you stop looking backward and start building forward. It's about the peace that replaces pain. It's about the fire that returns to your eyes after someone tried to dim your light. That's what makes it powerful. That's what makes it unshakable. They thought you'd crumble. They thought you'd beg. They thought you'd stay stuck in the sadness they left behind, but you didn't. You found the strength to get up. You started working on yourself, not to prove anything to them, but to become someone even you can be proud of. You hit the gym, not out of spite, but because you deserve to feel strong again. You chased your dreams harder, not for revenge, but because your future deserves your full attention. You cleaned up your life, your energy, your space. You began to glow, not because of them, but in spite of them. Your glow up tells the story of your healing. It tells the world that you didn't let that heartbreak define you. It shows that you learned, you grew, and you came out better. That's the beauty of it. It's not loud, it's not forced. It's real. And people notice. Even if they don't say a word, they see your glow. They see your energy shift. They see that you're no longer trying to be chosen. You've already chosen yourself. The best part is when they see you thriving, when they see you shining without them, it burns in a place no words can reach. Because deep down, they expected you to stay broken. They expected you to stay available. They never thought you'd outgrow the pain they caused, but you did. And now, every smile on your face, every goal you achieve, every peaceful night you enjoy, it all becomes a reminder of what they lost. That's the kind of glow that can't be faked. It's not for the gram. It's not for attention. It's for your soul. It's for the little voice inside that whispered, "Don't give up," on the nights you felt most alone. It's for the version of you that cried, that prayed, that waited for the pain to stop. Your glow up is your victory speech. It says, "I made it through what was meant to destroy me." It says, "I chose me." And no, your glow up isn't about making them jealous. It's not about revenge. It's about showing yourself what you're capable of. That you can rebuild from nothing. That you can heal even with a shattered heart. That you can walk into a room and light it up again. Not because of who's watching, but because you finally remembered who you are. That glow, it's not for them. It's for you. So let them talk. Let them wonder. Let them sit in silence while you build something unshakable. Let them scroll through your success and feel the weight of what they lost. But never stop glowing. Never stop rising. Because the best revenge is not revenge at all. It's becoming everything they said you couldn't be. It's loving yourself harder than they ever did. It's turning every tear into triumph. And it's walking through life with your head high, your heart whole, and your spirit on fire. There's something incredibly sacred about choosing to heal in private. Not everyone deserves a front row seat to your pain. Not everyone needs to know the depths of your sadness or the nights you cried yourself to sleep. Some things are just yours. Some moments aren't meant for sharing, explaining, or performing. They're meant to be felt in silence, wrestled with in solitude, and grown from in the quiet spaces where only you and God exist. Because healing, real, deep, honest healing, isn't always loud. It doesn't always look like transformational photos or inspirational quotes. Sometimes healing looks like staying home, staying low, and staying focused on putting your soul back together, piece by piece. When you choose to heal privately, you create space for truth. You're not worried about how others perceive your process. You're not posting every step, not announcing every breakthrough, not trying to prove you're okay when you're not. You allow yourself to feel the emotions that come without filters. You get to cry without judgment, rage without guilt, and rebuild without pressure. That's power. That's growth, because healing is not a performance. It's a process, and it deserves to be protected. You don't need to prove your progress to anyone. You don't have to respond to questions like, "Are you over it yet?" Or, "Why don't you just move on?" People don't understand what it took for you to get out of bed some mornings. They don't see the war you're fighting inside your mind, the triggers you're learning to face, the hope you're trying to hold on to. And they don't need to, because the work you're doing on yourself, behind closed doors, away from the noise, that's the work that transforms you from the inside out. It's easy to fake healing on the outside, to look good, laugh loud, post happy pictures, while silently breaking down when no one's watching. But that's not real healing. That's distraction. Real healing happens when you stop distracting yourself and finally sit with what hurts. When you confront the truth you've been avoiding. When you stop blaming others and start doing the work. That work is ugly. It's raw, it's uncomfortable, but it's necessary. And doing it privately gives you the strength to grow without seeking validation from others. Privacy during healing is also about protection. Not everyone has pure intentions. Some people watch your journey just to see if you'll fail. Some people act like they care just to satisfy their curiosity. Some just want the drama. And when you keep your healing private, you starve those people of the access they never deserved in the first place. You shut the door on opinions that don't matter. You remove the weight of expectation. You create a safe space where you can truly breathe, truly feel, and truly recover. There's something incredibly empowering about going quiet when the world expects you to break loudly. There's something unshakable about the kind of strength that doesn't need to announce itself. When you heal in private, your comeback is quiet, but your presence becomes loud. One day you just show up, stronger, wiser, softer, more grounded. And people notice. They don't know what happened. They don't know what it took, but they can feel the shift. That's the power of private healing. It leaves people speechless because they didn't get to witness the pain, but they can't ignore the growth. You don't owe anyone an explanation for how you choose to rebuild your life. You don't have to justify your silence. You don't have to share your scars to prove you survived. Some things are yours alone. And the beauty of healing in private is that you get to emerge on your own terms. Not rushed, not questioned, not doubted, just whole. Quietly, powerfully whole. So don't feel pressure to show the world your process. You're allowed to disappear for a while. You're allowed to protect your energy. You're allowed to grieve, grow, and heal behind closed doors. Because when you return, you'll be a version of yourself even you didn't see coming. And that kind of transformation doesn't need to be explained. It speaks for itself. There's a certain kind of peace that comes when you finally learn to protect your energy. Not your image, not your reputation, not your ego, but your energy. That inner space where your spirit lives, where your joy rests, where your self-worth grows, because ego screams for attention, for validation, for revenge, but your energy, it just wants peace. It wants healing. It wants freedom. And the moment you stop trying to defend your ego and start defending your energy, your whole life starts to change. Ego wants to clap back. It wants to prove a point. It wants to show them they didn't break you, that you're better off, that you won. Ego wants the last word. It wants the satisfaction of knowing they saw your glow up, heard about your success, regretted ever losing you. But here's the truth. Chasing that kind of satisfaction will only drain you. It'll distract you from your healing. It'll keep you tied to their energy long after they're gone. And you don't need that. You don't need to fight battles that no longer serve your peace. You don't need to stand in rooms you've outgrown just to prove you belong there. You don't need to argue with people who never deserved your presence to begin with. When you choose to protect your energy, you learn how to let things go, not because they didn't matter, but because you matter more. You start saying no without guilt. You stop over-explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. You stop begging for closure from people who were never capable of giving it. You stop holding on to people who drain you, disrespect you, or only show up when it's convenient for them. Protecting your energy means walking away when it no longer feels right, not when it becomes unbearable. It means choosing your peace over being right, choosing your mental health over winning the argument, choosing your growth over your pride. Because ego keeps you stuck. Ego keeps you chasing people, defending yourself, trying to look strong even when you're hurting inside. But protecting your energy allows you to rest, to heal, to grow in silence and glow in peace. It's the difference between looking powerful and being powerful. Ego will keep you in rooms, where you're only tolerated just to say you didn't walk away. It'll make you hold on to toxic love just so you don't feel like you lost. But energy knows better. Energy can feel the shift long before words confirm it. It knows when you're not being loved right. It knows when someone's presence is costing you your peace, and it whispers to you quietly at first, then louder, until you finally listen, until you finally say, I choose me. You see, when you stop protecting your ego, you stop trying to force people to understand you. You stop needing everyone to like you. You stop needing to be seen, heard, or validated by those who don't care about your well-being. You stop performing strength and start becoming it. There's real power in that. In no longer needing to prove anything, in no longer needing to be chosen to feel valuable, and no longer lowering your standards just to be accepted. Protecting your energy also means protecting your boundaries. It means no longer giving access to people who trigger your insecurities, who take more than they give, who confuse love with control. It means knowing what you deserve and refusing to settle for less, not out of ego, but out of self-respect. Because you've worked too hard to rebuild yourself to let someone come in and break you all over again. You've cried too many nights, prayed too many prayers, healed too many wounds to let temporary attention fool you into forgetting your progress. So protect your energy like it's sacred, because it is. Stop fighting for people to see your worth. Stop explaining your heart to people who never took the time to understand it. Let go of anything that costs your peace. Love yourself enough to walk away from what drains you, even if your ego says stay and prove a point. You don't need to win the argument. You just need to win your peace. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is let go with grace, with strength, and with silence. Because your energy is your responsibility. And it's time you protect it with everything you've got. There comes a point when you realize that closure is not something someone else can give you. It's not a perfect conversation. It's not the apology you never got. It's not the truth you begged them to admit. Closure doesn't always come wrapped in answers or delivered with honesty or served at the end of a neat, respectful goodbye. Sometimes closure is a decision, not a dialogue. It's the choice to let go of what hurt you, even if you never understand why it happened the way it did. It's deciding to walk away with dignity, even if your heart is still full of questions. Because holding on while waiting for someone to give you peace will only keep you trapped in pain. You don't need to hear them say sorry to heal. You don't need them to explain why they changed, why they walked away, why they hurt you like you didn't matter.